Free tuition for college students? Legalize weed across the United States? What kind of senators are they putting out in Washington state? Check out this guy who calls himself a new Republican. Coming up next on Deceptions of the Ages News. Hello everybody and welcome to Deceptions of the Ages News. I want to thank everybody for your subscriptions and for your comments. Oh boy, I said subscriptions, so it's gonna, here it comes, look out, look out. Keep your head down for a second. Yeah, it does its thing and then we let it go. But you gotta make sure to hit that subscribe button, because if you don't, then that thing will come back during the middle of the broadcast. It's going to mess everything up. So if you haven't subscribed yet, and you haven't, watch out. Oh boy. Look, can you just go ahead and hit that subscribe button? That would be super. All right, great. All right, now our story today is about a Senate candidate, probably the most unusual Senate candidate in the history of the United States. This guy's got some ideas. Now, what he wants to do is he wants kids that are attending college to not have to pay tuition. How crazy is that? And he doesn't want them to graduate from college with debt, so they can just go out into the world with a good outlook on life. But it's not only that, because anybody can say this stuff, and then you're going to say, well, how's he going to pay for that? He's going to put us in more debt. No, he has an even more unusual plan, and that is to legalize weed to pay for it. But don't listen to me. Let's hear what he has to say. Hey there, my name is Matthew Heines. I am running for Washington State's First Congressional District. The election primary is August 7th, and the main election is November 6th. Please remember those dates. Please register to vote. And please, if you like what I say, get out and vote for me. Now, if you're over 30 years old or not in college, I would like to ask you to please turn this video off, because I'd like to talk to just students. If you're in college, high school, I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes, and I don't want anybody else in the room. If you are attending college, or if you're a professor or a teacher, I guess it's all right if you stay. If you have student loan debt that you are having a hard time paying off, it's all right if you stay. Now, is everybody gone out of the room that we don't want? Okay, good. Now, this is what I'm proposing. You send me to the United States Senate, and I'm not going to tell you what I believe. I'm going to tell you a fact. It is a shame that you are going to go to school, or you're in school, or you went to school, and you are saddled with student loan debt. I cannot solve everybody's problems as far as finances go, but if the U.S. government is paying for your tuition, or is paying for these universities, we can pay for your tuition. Now, we spend a lot of money on bombs and killing people and wars on drugs and things that don't really help anybody and really hurt people. Now it's time we started helping out our American citizens. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to tell your friends that there is somebody that's running for Congress that wants to let you go to college for free. Now, does this mean everybody gets to go to college for free? No, unfortunately it doesn't. We need to be realistic about our career choices. College just isn't for everybody. And there's a lot of people that would prefer to go and do a trade. And the only thing that's inhibiting them from doing a trade is the money and the glamour. Well, guess what? I'm going to do something about the money. I can't do anything about the glamour, but I'm going to do something about the money so that people who are working in construction and the jobs that we need to have done are making a living wage. And I'm going to make sure that Americans have the skills to do those jobs that we need. Now, how am I going to pay for this? Because I'm sure a lot of you are saying, boy, that guy sounds like one of those crazy Democrats. Well, I'm going to sound even more like a crazy Democrat in a second, but I do assure you, I am a new Republican. I'm not the same old Republican, let me see how much I can give to the corporations and take from Americans. No, I'm a new Republican, and this is what I stand for, and the new Republicans who come with me and who come after me. We stand for education, and we stand for a mature outlook towards politics and towards our nation's future. Now, we need to pay for this free tuition, right? How are we going to do that? We going to start spending a lot of money and run up the debt even more? Absolutely not. We are going to legalize marijuana across the country. We are going to use the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and the Department of Drug Enforcement, the Drug Enforcement Agency, to administer these programs. Now, that will help Washington State because Washington State already has experience legally as far as distribution, as far as setting up who you sell to, as far as ID checks, all of that. And that's not to mention the research and things that have been done as far as using derivatives of cannabinoids in medicines and things. So this is just a win-win for Washington State, and it's a win-win for students. So we want to end the war on drugs, at least on marijuana. We want to use the money that we were spending on the war on marijuana and enforcing crazy antiquated laws that were basically put in place by corporations in the first place, and Google that, and be more realistic in our approach to the government. Now, we're going to pass a law that says any revenue that comes from the sale of marijuana has to go to schools. What happens in most of these situations is they do things like the lottery in Washington State. They said, oh, we're going to pass the lottery, and they passed it, and they said, oh, it's all going to go to the schools. Well, how much of it actually goes to schools? Not very much. So we're not going to let that happen. We're going to pass a law before we pass the legalization act that all of the money that is taken in from the sale of marijuana goes to paying the tuition and the college costs of our children. So that is my stance on debt, on student loan debt, and on marijuana legalization and the war on drugs. Now, people would say, well, what is your experience? How can you possibly do that? And people are going to say, are you crazy? Well, people who do that don't really understand, or they have a different agenda. And so we're going to get a lot of resistance from banks, of course, who will lose lots of money. And we're going to get a lot of resistance from pharmaceuticals because they would rather sell you a addicting or harmful substance rather than something that occurs naturally in nature. And of course, we're also going to get a lot of resistance from the alcohol companies. And I don't know about the tobacco people, but I can assure you that these three entities are going to do the Damien Act. You remember when Damien they were trying to take him into the church on the Omen, and he did that freak out thing. Well, that's what you're going to see happening when the banks listen to what I have to say about tuition and legalizing weed to pay for our college students. But you're old enough to understand this, and you're old enough to understand what debt means, and you're old enough to understand, and hopefully not, but you're probably wondering where your money's going to come from, and you're worried about getting a job. And I'm trying to change things, but the first things that I want to change is that I believe that education is the savior of us all. So if you will support me and send me to Congress, the first thing that I'm going to do there is I'm going to take our president, I'm going to sit him aside, I'm going to say, you work with Washington State, and Washington State will work with you. But we want, and I don't just mean Washington State, I mean the entire country. We want to set our students free. So spread this video around. Let's get the word out. Let's get going. Let's get moving. We don't want to see another person have to go to jail for something that is legal in a lot of states in the United States. We don't want another person to say, oh, I can't afford to go to college, so I'm going to forego my education. And we don't want anybody ever to say, like the woman who gave me a haircut yesterday, she says, yeah, we're worried about having other kids because we don't know how we would send them to college. That should never be an issue. And I want you to know that if you want to have a family in my United States, we will help you. And if you want to prosper and succeed and follow your dream in the United States, I will help you. We've got to make some tough choices, but right now we need to get our kids the help they need, and we need to stop burdening you guys with student loan debt. So that's my stand. I will talk to you guys next time, probably about the issue of these school shootings and education in general. Thank you for your time. I'm Matthew Heines, running for the First Congressional District in Washington State. The election is August 7th and November 6th. Please register. Please get out and vote for me if you live anywhere between Bellingham and Issaquah. Thank you for your time. Wow, what a crazy idea, huh? Legal weed and free college. Boy, this country is either getting much better or it's just going insane. But I like this guy. What do you think? Leave a comment below. This is Deceptions of the Ages News. We'll see you next time.